You know, I told myself I was gonna stop complaining about BookTok, and then I went, I'll stop complaining about BookTok when they stop giving me things to complain about. Because what the fuck is bookshelf wealth? Huh? What does it even fucking mean? It's a new design trend, apparently. I literally bookmarked this article on MSN. Do you know who goes on MSN? Old people and me, apparently. I'm reading this article from The Independent called "What is Bookshelf Wealth Inside the New Controversial Design Trend?" This is fucking crazy. Okay. So it says San Diego-based interior designer Kaylee Blaylock, I'm very sorry if I mispronounced her name, defined the term bookshelf wealth in a video she posted on TikTok in December of 2023. Typically, the literary collection is paired with carefully curated art pieces hung in a haphazard, freewheeling way that gives the impression that the space is not only lived in, but the product of years of collecting. The look is cluttered but not messy, with tchotchkes and travel souvenirs tastefully displayed. I'm sorry, what? This is like how to fake being a bibliophile, but honest to God, you can't really fake something like that. It even says in the article. But my thing is, what is going on with BookTok? I've been thinking about doing a video essay for this, and then the more that I looked into it, the more I went, absolutely not. I'm getting really irritated about it because there's also plenty of videos about it of how BookTok might be making the publishing industry a little bit like fast fashion. Just a little bit. It's not like the same comparison. It's probably going to be short because I don't really have much else to say other than it's okay if you're not a reader. Like, you don't need to pretend to look like one. It's actually more insulting when you do, as opposed to, I don't like that I'm saying it like this, but I'm someone that was actively made fun of for how much I read when I was younger. You literally could not pry a book out of my hands. I remember getting in trouble in class because of how much I read, and I rarely ever got in trouble. I always got the "a pleasure to have in class" on my report card, so if that's anything to say about me as a person, then you would know it would take a lot for me to get in trouble. But when I was reading this article, I was like, why are we faking this? I remember when reading was looked down upon so much, and I'm glad that people are reading. I want to say this right now. Get so happy when people read something. Do I particularly like some of the things that people read? No. I don't like when people read a lot of Colleen Hoover because there are so many better books. There's so many better romances than Colleen Hoover. Put down "It Ends With Us" and to pick up something else. Please pick up something else. You will be far happier. Anyways, I don't have a problem with people wanting to read and wanting to get either into reading because maybe they weren't readers when they were younger, or get back into reading. I definitely took a little bit of reading backseat because English class my senior year of high school really stole my love of literature. And then I ended up getting back into reading with manga, actually. I've always liked anime as a kid. I watched a lot of it. I didn't read as much manga as I watched, but then I got back into reading manga because a lot of times I could read ahead, and I found that the shows were kind of getting disappointing, but that's a whole nother issue. I have my own thoughts about the anime and manga industry, especially in the West. And I know y'all see the Akira poster. I get so many comments about the Akira poster, or at least I used to in my TikToks. So many people would be like, "Oh my god, I love your Akira poster." I'm like, thanks. I know, it's pretty great, isn't it? I also have a Jujutsu Kaisen as well as Godzilla, and then you can't see it, but on my closet door is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood, and then on my other door, my bedroom door, is Spirited Away in Japanese. So clearly I like reading different kinds of literature. But my problem is not with that. That got on a tangent, sorry, but that's what this whole series is, tangents, but commentary style. I just want to know why are we trying to pretend like we're something that we're not? Like, why is it so hard to say, hey, I haven't read a lot of these books, but I want to at some point? Y'all age me so much, so incredibly much. It is so painful sometimes doing these videos. I just want to know what is going on with BookTok, because the more that I look into different BookTok topics, especially like the bookshelf wealth or the rate that these books are being pumped out, I'm like, what's going on with the literary and publishing industry? Are we doing okay? I read another article, this article from the HuffPost titled "TikTok's Book Influencers Are Sucking the Joy Out of Reading." from February 16th of last year by Habiba Katcha. Apologies for probably butchering your last name. And they go on to say that a lot of people on BookTok were reading so many books that it just felt like it was starting to become manufactured. Their content, they were skimming, they were not really paying attention to a lot of the books, and I had to kind of admit, yeah, I started feeling that way too, because seeing some of these people reading like 20 books in a month, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm saying it's highly unlikely that you're actually absorbing what you're reading. So in a way, the bookshelf wealth kind of just sparked this whole, I'm just bitching about BookTok, because I think BookTok, while it is good for introducing people back into reading, I think ultimately it's causing a lot more problems than it should be. And I think it's kind of crazy what it's doing to reading as a hobby. It's because buying books and reading books are two very different things, but BookTok tends to promote buying the books over really reading them, savoring them, enjoying them. I personally took 2 months to read Wuthering Heights, and I absorbed it little by little. It took me about a month or two to read The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I found myself loving those books. I really absorbed what I read. For The Picture of Dorian Gray, every 2 chapters I wrote a summary of what happened, and it allowed me to really understand what I was reading. If I was one of those BookTok influencers, I probably would have just skimmed, because in all honesty, there's no fucking way you're reading that many books in a month and like genuinely absorbing what you're reading. I already said that, but I'm gonna say it again. There's no way. And some of these people, even on BookTube, they're like, oh, I read 200 books this year. Did you? Did you really? Or did you just skim it? Did you just skim it? I say that because it took me 2 weeks to read this book, The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura, and I annotated the whole thing. And now my annotations weren't like, deep or anything like that. They weren't like revolutionary. They were just really my thoughts as I'm reading the book, which I think that's what annotation should be, especially if you're not doing it for any sort of literary class. And I say this as a history major, someone that reads textbooks and annotates. I mean, like, this was my US history 1865 to the present composition book from last semester. And this isn't even all the notes that I took. I didn't quite finish this because, well, frankly, there just wasn't enough pages for me to finish the last couple chapters of that textbook. But my thing is, this is not even about bookshelf wealth anymore. This is just me bitching and griping about BookTok in general. I have a big problem when it comes to BookTok, especially the smutty side, which you can watch BookTok Has a Corn Addiction or a Corn Problem. I don't remember exactly what I titled that book, but you can watch that, link in the description, because I have a lot of bones to pick with BookTok, especially the romance side, like I was saying. And honestly, I think that fan fictions do romance far better than anything BookTok can ever really put out. Plus, I feel like it's all kind of the same people over and over again when you're first on there. It's the same things, the same this, same that, and I think it promotes really problematic books. Hi, I just wanted to clarify that when I say that it promotes problematic books, I'm talking more about character behaviors, actions, words, that sort of thing, especially when it comes to romance. I believe that Colleen Hoover promotes books that are portraying very toxic relationships as normal, as in very abusive behaviors from different love interests. That's what I mean by that. I don't mean like they got into an argument about something stupid. I understand fiction affects reality to a certain extent. After that, it is on the person to distinguish between, is this appropriate behavior or not? That's what I mean by that. I really do. Oh, side tangent. So the ACOTAR trilogy is one of the biggest series universes to come out of BookTok, I think. I'm sure it was popular before BookTok, but I didn't know about it until 2022. And I would just like to say that we harp on Stephanie Meyer a lot for Bella Swan being a self-insert, but I don't see nearly enough people harping on Sarah J. Maas for making Feyre a self-insert, because the first time I ever saw a picture of Maas, I was like, that's Feyre. Like, let's be real here. That is Feyre to a T. You can't tell me it's not. Their descriptions are like the exact same. So anyways, I think if you're going to give Stephanie Meyer shit about Bella being a self-insert, you need to keep that same energy for Miss Moss. So anyways, bookshelf wealth also has ties with the whole quiet luxury thing, which I'm sure we all know exactly what quiet luxury is, the whole stealth wealth shit. I don't know what the whole fascination with old money and stuff is. I mean, I like old things as much as the next person, but I do not like the hierarchy that comes with old money. And let me tell you, I have brushed elbows with old money. I have been to charity galas where $250,000 is like pocket change to these people. And just because you have money does not mean you have style. It does not mean that you have class. It does not make you this holier than thou better person just because you do. It just makes you someone with a lot of money. And again, like I said in my being weirdly open while doing my nails video, like I said, age does not make you wiser or better. It just makes you older. Like being old does not make you wise. It just makes you old. Being young does not mean you have a new perspective. It just makes you young. Like, just because you have money does not mean that you're classy. It does not mean you're a nice person. It does not mean anything. It just means you have money. That is all it means. Assigning morality to stuff, stop doing that. Now it's getting philosophical. But this is just a kind of a rant about bookshelf wealth, and that it feeds into inauthenticity. That's a right word. That's the correct word. Yeah. I'm so smart. I'm such an English lit person. Anyways, I don't really know what else I wanted to say other than I just have bones to pick with BookTok, and I have bones to pick with bookshelf wealth. I have bones to pick with TikTok in general and short form content, but I'm not going to get into that part of it. I just think that a lot of these issues are, I don't even know how to describe it, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. Anyways, you don't need to read like 15 books a month to be a reader. It's okay. It is truly okay. You don't need to buy every single book. You don't need to buy 20 books in a row. You don't need to, I don't even know. You don't need to do that. You can go to your library, your local library. That's what I did with this book, The Thing in the Snow. I have yet to read it because I've been kind of busy, but anyways, today's video was supposed to be a vlog of my birthday weekend, which was last weekend, but I have not filmed the outro to that because it kind of ends a little abruptly. So yeah, it's going to be this video instead because this is more pressing matters. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. And remember, get off your phone, go outside, get some water, get some food, eat some vegetables. The holidays are over. Get some sleep. I hope you have a great day, night, spring, summer, fall, or winter, wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!